Politico today is an editorial by Matt Kibbe, president of Freedom Works, a group that advocates for small government, talking about the carbon offset. And he says that the carbon offset business is taking off with well-heeled liberals and is expected to be a multi-billion-dollar industry within just a few years.
Well, there's something here in this country called the Chicago Climate Exchange right now that is trading carbon. And to me, that's the best way to go. We saw how it worked. Well, many people would say the most equitable way to go would be a carbon tax. It's never going to happen on Capitol Hill. I don't believe you'll ever see a carbon tax.
Do you support one?
No, I think I want to see something get done. That's why I really have been focused on a cap and trade type system. That worked so well with acid rain, with sulfur dioxide. The 1990 Clean Air Act amendments, that was a new program put in place that it does a host of things. It gives business the ability to reach the targets in a way that keeps them economically competitive, helps them, if they make money, so be it, but it resulted in very real cuts, faster, deeper cuts than the regulation had called for, faster than the regulation had called for, at half the cost. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Let's take some calls.
Okay.
Gladstone, New Jersey, Republican.
Okay.
You're first up with Christy Todd Whitman.
Hi, Governor Whitman. Nice
Good morning.
I have to say, preface this first by saying that I'm a big fan of yours. I've been a fan of yours. And we have
Good. I like that.
You have a mutual friend, Joni Kay, who's been your mentor and looked over you and speaks of you most highly, and your daughters and all. I just wanted to say that I agree with some of what you say, but I kind of dispute what you say about the whole idea about nuclear power, because its track record or the way we've addressed it and how we've missed the biggest disasters that we could have ever had, like on September 11th and everything like that. When New York was attacked, they could have done more damage to it by just hitting a containment pool 20 miles up the river on the Hudson River and rendered New York and New Jersey uninhabitable. And something about this lady, I know she has a deep respect about the environment, because something that you'll never hear about in the press is like this lady mows her hay and can fix a tractor and everything like that. So she's really an excellent, well-grounded individual.
Well, thank you for that. But let me just clarify a couple of things. First of all, the nuclear regulatory industry is the most regulated industry that we have, manufacturing or otherwise, and frankly one of the safest. It's the studies have been done that show that it's safer to work in a nuclear facility than it is in any other manufacturing facility in this country, really, or industry. It's had many facilities that haven't had any lost work days for thousands of hours. And it would not, they've done all kinds of models as to what it would take to cause problems at a nuclear facility. And frankly, diving a plane into a holding pond is not going to result in a huge release of problematic materials. It's not going to happen. The protections are such levels, so there's so many layers of it, and obviously people can't go into all of that so that no one knows exactly what's there. But these facilities are really enormously safe. And if you think about the one that comes to mind that most people mention in this country, 3 Mile Island, that was a failure of a process, but in fact everything that was put in place to save the public and the people who worked there worked. Nobody was overexposed. Nobody has gotten cancer from that. Nobody got high doses of radiation. Everything that was supposed to work to protect the public did. And we've seen enormous progress even since then. So these are really very safe facilities, and they have to meet standards that are well beyond what are required of any other facility, including they get sort of fake attacks when they don't know they're coming. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission will send people in to try to penetrate. So they really are very safe, and diving a plane into them, the likelihood of that being able to release huge amounts of radiation is slim to negligible.
On our Democrats line, San Francisco, you're on with Christy Todd Whitman.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Miss Whitman, I got to take you to task on you're talking about being safe and this and that. I was in Manhattan in 2001 with my wife, 4 blocks away from the World Trade Center. You and your administration came in talking about how safe and clean the air was, and it was workable. Now we're seeing all these people who are getting no government help, by the way, with people dying now. People are dying. My wife has got a cough she's never had before since 9/11. So for you to come on TV and start talking about all these safety issues with nuclear power and stuff, when you were the one standing on the ground talking about how safe all the air air was around the World Trade Center seems like a big debacle on your part, and driving a tractor doesn't make you an authority on anything. I can drive a fucking tractor.
Well, I agree with you on driving the tractor and the baling machine doesn't make me an expert on anything, but I will tell you something. My son was in Building 7 at the time, so I really have besides losing a number of very good friends, I have a deep and personal commitment to what happened in New York on 9/11. And I will tell you, for anyone who was in that area when the buildings came down, there was a problem. And as I said repeatedly, those who worked on the pile needed to wear respirators. But the ambient air quality in Lower Manhattan in general, after those first few days, nothing that I said was based on anything in my personal opinion. It was based on what the scientists were telling us from numerous readings that we were taking of air, water, and dust samples. And nothing that they saw said that there was going to be long-term health impacts from the ambient air quality in Lower Manhattan. Not when you were there when the buildings came down. There was no question that if you were running away from those buildings, you inhaled that dust deep into your lungs. I think there are going to be problems. And while I'm not a medical expert, I still believe that what we're seeing today with the responders is directly related to the fact that they did not wear respirators. And that was a huge frustration, frankly, to me, that we couldn't get them to. The Environmental Protection Agency was not the primary responder there, and we're not able to enforce it, even though we provided respirators. And we repeated again and again my public statements, as well as meetings that were held every morning with those people who were going over what was going to be done that day as far as the rescue and then recovery was concerned, reiterating the need to wear respirators. And I agree with you. We should be doing a great deal for those people. They were heroes. The men and women who responded on 9/11 and the days and months afterwards, including the men and women at the Environmental Protection Agency who were on that pile on a regular basis, wearing monitors on themselves to take real-time data that we then put up on the air, so that people could see and make real comparisons as to what was problematic and what wasn't. I think we have a huge responsibility to those people.